hell out of its way, just get out of its way, just run. There is a way to kill them. If you can't cut off their head, they have two hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or, if you can't get to that area and you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above its groin area. It has a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It is not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have the strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do it. If they get here en masse, we got real problems. Real problems.
What do the Andromedans advise human beings to do if they encounter an Alpha Draconin?
To leave. You leave its space. Get away. To get away.
What if they can't?
Then they can't.
And if they can't?
They'll usually be killed.
And what do have the Andromedans spoken in any detail about what a human being should do if they are in that position? For karmic purposes?
Look, that's not karmic at all. A lot of these, all this metaphysical stuff, where you chose to be here, a lot of, in some situations that's true. When you're creating your reality and in your space. But when you're being invaded, that's not karma. That's a violation of free will.
If your free will is being violated, Alex, what should you do?
You should ask for help.
Okay.
Ask for help. Put a call up to God. Put a call up to heaven. Put a call to the Andromedans, the Pleiadians, whomever. Just put a call up and deal with it. I don't know. That's just the nature of the beast. They don't like us. We're considered a food source for them. For them. We're a food source for the Greys, but in an entirely different way.
Have they taught us to be carnivorous through the belief systems? Have they taught us to eat meat and eat flesh?
Well, it lowers the body's vibration. It lowers the body's vibration.
So,
if our body vibrated at a higher length, we would spiritually be evolving regardless of what our religions were teaching us. And they can't have that. They can't have us being free. They can't have us not being in control, because then we're responsible for ourselves.
So as we move away from eating meat and more towards vegetarianism, we begin to raise our vibrational level and break this cycle.
It helps. Not everybody has to stop eating meat. It's not an absolute requirement. It certainly helps. But some people's belief systems will be that they just need a piece of meat. And for whatever their reasons are, that's fine. If you want to eat meat, that's fine. But you know what? Feed your mind. Feed your mind with spirit, with questions about existence, about what it is we're doing here, why we're here, what the hell is really going on. Why is it that I have all these material things and I'm still miserable in my life?
Well, I know that a lot of people with questions, where are some of the truthful answers? You mentioned one book, The Gods of Eden, that you felt really strongly about. What other sources are there that you feel that we have access to, aside from our inner selves, which is actually the best place to probably begin looking? But are there other starting points that people can use that you know of?
I mentioned Gods of Eden. George Andrews' books, E.T.s Among Us. There's a lot of information in there that not only deals with the E.T.s, but also the world political government, which right now is very dangerous for humanity, because it's part of the Great Plan. It's part of their regressive alien plan to keep us in jail. Okay, do not pass go, but keep us in jail. Oh God, suddenly I draw a blank.
Okay, just as you think about it, interject it into the conversation.
Okay.
You mentioned throw the television out. Are television programs conditioning our youth into accepting these hostile beings, do you think? Or is that just human beings doing anything for a buck?
I don't necessarily know. I don't know. But the violence is desensitizing. Violence is just a way of life now. We've been taught that. We've been programmed that violence is just a way of life. So when we see really violent acts, oh, that's too bad. Well, honey, what's on Channel 7? Or what movie are we going to rent tonight? That's what it's come to. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. There is no reason that any of this has to occur at all. It really doesn't. And a lot of it is the responsibility of the people. Because if the producers in Hollywood are going to make movies like this, and we're going to go and buy the tickets, well, they're going to be motivated for the buck to continue to make these kind of movies. Where if they spend $20 million and nobody buys a ticket, they won't be making those kind of movies. So it comes back to people taking personal responsibility for what they think, what they want to believe, and what it is that they want to create.
Do the Andromedans really feel that we'll be able to reach that window?
Right now it's undecided. And that's the scary part. They don't know.
What would help push it forward?
I don't know. I really don't know. Except for just, start listening to people that are talking. Start really paying attention to what's going on. My grandfather used to have a saying, believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. I wouldn't believe a thing that comes out of Washington, D.C. In fact, it's my own personal belief that this next election that's coming up next year in November, that every American should march on Washington, D.C. and should fire every single person that's there. They have run this country into the ground. They have totally sold us out to the United Nations for a buck, for the debt. And, even the monetary system, it's just a belief system. We could change that tomorrow if we wanted to. I mean, we're so intelligent. We could create something different, but we're believing, we've got to have this money. Do you know that we're the only race in our galaxy where people starve, that people are homeless? I mean, it's such bull. It doesn't have to be like this. If you're alive and you're on a planet and other civilizations, even the draconian races, they take care of their own. They don't sell out each other like we do here. They don't throw somebody in the street because they don't have a paper, which is really what it is. The only value on it is what we believe it is. They just don't have that. They don't let children starve. They don't feed grain to cattle that feed 20% of the population and let the other 25% that need the grain starve. It's unconscionable. They would never even think to do that. But we do it here. For bucks. For money. For power.
That's part of that conditioning process that's been going on 5,700 years.
That's part of it. But the responsibility is that there are people that know what is going on and they play the game anyway. They don't have the courage to say, look, folks, let's deal with the realities here. We don't have a guy that's strong enough in office as president to stand up and say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we've really been sold out. That there are forces within our government, like what Kennedy tried to do, that just flat out want to destroy the United States because we're too good, because we have too much. Instead of raising the consciousness and the life, everyday life, what's the word I'm looking for? A standard of living instead of raising the standard of living that we have globally, they would rather just destroy the United States, destroy our standard of living so that we're comparable to everybody else. So now everywhere is a third world nation. And that's exactly what they're doing. And they're doing it for power, for greed. We're selling out our own, and something's got to be done.
Could you describe the human military bases on the dark side of the moon, Mars, and the Mars probes as Andromedans, and how the Alpha Draconians fit into this scenario?
The Mars probes, the Russian and the US one, they're gone. They were destroyed. They're history. There's no secret here about, it's taking pictures privately. And it doesn't matter whether you believe that or not. It's history. Okay? March of '89, the Russians took pictures. Mars was invaded. We had a human colony there of 300,000, so I'm told. One was
Adam and
underground, one was above ground, Adam and Eve. They are conquered.